Pink Floyd, soundtrack from the film More, 1969. Released on June 13th, 1969. 13 songs, about 45 minutes, produced by the Pink Floyd. Also, notice that it says original motion picture soundtrack More right here. What it says here, soundtrack from the film More, original motion picture soundtrack More. Okay, that's weird. Played and composed by the Pink Floyd. Okay, album cover by Hypnosis. This is the second one they did for Pink Floyd. They took a still from the movie, like a freeze frame from the movie More, and they made it this blue and orange, which is kind of cool, and it's a contrast in colors, so that looks really cool. It kind of stands out, right? Pretty decent. It's like a Dutch windmill, and these are people, and that's trees and stuff. Okay, what does it sound like? It sounds rushed, as in they cobbled it together in a hurry, and it might be a little bit underproduced. It's not quite demo quality, like there's this one Syd Barrett CD. It sounds like a demo. It's not like that. It sounds like it's better produced than a demo, but it's not like stellar produced like you would expect from a Pink Floyd album. It does sound like a movie soundtrack, disjointed and disconnected. A bunch of random tracks they needed to fill in for the movie. However, after saying all of that, some of the material is pretty good. The rest of it doesn't do much, doesn't do nothing. Okay, the songs that are filler are Up the Khyber, Party Sequence, More Blues, Spanish Theme, and Dramatic Theme. The real songs on the album are Cirrus Minor, the Nile track, the Crying Song, Green is the Color, Cymbaline, Main Theme, Ibiza Bar, which is this the Nile Song Part 2, and then Quicksilver, which is it's an instrumental, but somewhere between a real song and movie filler. Let's call it a real song just for the fun of it. Okay, let's get into it. The first track on, I'm just going to call it More because it's easier. I've always called it More. Track 1 is Cirrus Minor. It's a Roger Waters written song. It's 5 minutes and 15 seconds. The first minute and 5 seconds are birds chirping. Then the guitar starts with some really light strumming, which is like, at this point, no Syd Barrett, it's David Gilmour. And then the verses go real fast. It's a quick 8 bars. The keyboards part starts at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and it's easily the best part of the song is the keyboards. The song is in the key of E minor because there's one sharp, and it's 74 beats per minute at 4/4 time. I'll just say this. I had a hard time finding the sheet music. I got that book. None of the songs are in the book. Looking for songs from Pink Floyd More on the internet it's very difficult, and I don't know these songs. Like, I've never tried to play them other than the Nile Song. So I had to do some digging, and the digging, it's just very sparse information, okay? So take what I say on the music part of it with a grain of salt. You might find your own stuff, okay? For Cirrus Minor, Genius says the chord sequence E minor, B minor, D, A, G, D, B. That's the chord sequence. Cirrus Minor has an unusual chord sequence: E minor, E flat augmented, G major, G, C sharp minor 7, C major 7, C minor 7, and B7. The chords are built around the chromatically descending bass line. This is all from Genius. The B7, C major 7, and G major chords are the only chords which fit into the functional context of the E minor. This chord sequence gives the song a very surreal atmosphere. Okay, so that's E minor is what Genius says. I looked at something called MusicScore.com. I also looked at Ultimate Guitar and 911 tabs to validate what Genius said. The song opens up with some arpeggiated riff / guitar chords, as David Gilmour likes to do. And the birds chirping and the beauty of the keyboards make the song stellar. The verse is 8 bars he's singing in a churchyard by a river, lazing in the haze of midday, laughing in the grasses and the graves. And and then there's an instrumental. So it's the birds, the verse, instrumental. And that's that instrumental is the Richard Wright part at the end. Cirrus Minor, good track. The second track is the Nile Song. It's also a Roger Waters tune at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. I have history with this song. Kevin and I recorded it back in the day. It sounded okay. We were just fooling around, making demos. The Pink Floyd version is much better. The riff is like a heavy metal riff. No keyboards. Genius and Wikipedia say the exact same thing. It sounds like it was cut and pasted. The chord progression is a series of modulations beginning at A and then rising a whole step with each repeat, cycling through 6 different keys, returning to the starting point of A and continuing the pattern as the song fades out. So I did the math. The key of 6 different keys are A, B, C sharp, E flat, F, and A. And the beats per minute, I did it on the slow count, like probably about 70. And it's the verse is 8 bars at that slow count. I was standing by the Nile when I saw the lady smile. And then there's a guitar solo at the end. It's 1 minute and 50 seconds when it starts. The guitar solo is 16 bars, or it's 8 bars, and then it's a second 8 bars at that slow beat. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 like that. It sounds pretty good for David Gilmour, an early guitar solo. A lot of squealing. It's the song structure is a verse, 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 the guitar solo, and then one more verse. And that's the Nile Song. Track 3 is the Crying Song. It's also a Roger Waters song. That's 3 in a row. 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Lead vocals by David Gilmour. Genius says the song is composed similarly to many standard folk ballads, with the only exception being the second chord. It is a D major with a diminished fifth. In this context, the D major flat fifth chord has a more dissonant character and lasts for a whole measure. It creates a very dreamy, surreal atmosphere. The song has 4 verses connected with a unison instrumental interplay of guitar and bass. Okay. So it's a D major. It's key of D major. It's even slower than the Nile Song. And it's in 4/4 time. The verse is 8 bars. David Gilmour sings in the verse, the first verse, we smile and smile, we smile and smile, laughter echoes in your eyes. It's like, and then do 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 da do 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 do. That's the verse, okay. And then it does that do 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 do, that whole part. The guitar solo starts at about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It sounds like David Gilmour doing slide guitar. Back in these days, I don't know this, but I'm just guessing, he was more likely to have the slide on the finger with his Fender, not the Fender lap steel that he played on Momentary Lapse of Reason or on the Division Bell. It's a verse guitar solo, and that's Crying Song. It's Crying Song. Track 4 is Up the Khyber. Mason Wright, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. The only song credited to Mason and Wright, says a bunch of sources, which is probably right. I mean, I can't think of any other ones. Nick Mason. Coincidence, by the way. I didn't plan this. Nick Mason, the drummer, and Richard Wright, my keyboardist, my all-time favorite. It's an instrumental. It's filler. Genius says this is a part of Interstellar Overdrive where they just pulled out the Mason Wright part. There's no guitar part? Probably not. I didn't hear any. It's perhaps just a bass at the end. Maybe, I don't know. But I didn't think David Gilmour was leading. I don't know what key it is. I could look up the key to Interstellar Overdrive. Interstellar Overdrive is in 132 beats per minute. I think Interstellar Overdrive, what I read in Astronomy Domini, are basically the same songs, but they've changed it up. If this is just pulled from that, then it's probably whatever key they written in. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just Nick. It's Nick banging around, and it's Rick Wright doing some organ stuff. That's the tune. Nothing. It's nothing too fancy. Track 5 is Green is the Color. 2 minutes and 58 seconds. This is a light little ditty. This one's all right. I've always liked green as the color. In fact, I was driving around today and the bootleg, not the bootleg, but the track green as the color on the bootleg came on. It's not too much different. I wonder if it's an early take or something. But green is the color is in the key of G major. It's 75 beats per minute, so it's that slow tempo, 4/4 time. The verse is 8 bars if you count it at the 75 beats per minute. Heavy hung the canopies of blue, shade my eyes, and I can see you. White is the light that shines through the dress that you wore. It's a cool song. Green is the color. It's not one of my all-time favorites, but it's a good underrated. I'll call it a deep cut. I'll call it a deep cut Floyd song. Verse, 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 outro. I think they used to play it on tour actually. Track 6 is Cymbaline. Roger Waters again. He's writing all the first 6 tracks, except for the Up the Khyber one. Roger's really taken control of the band. Lead vocals by David Gilmour. This is another song on the album that passes the muster, passes the test. And there's this cool scat section, and there's a line where David sings, Doctor Strange is always changing sides. Okay, this song is in the key of G major. I got that from sheetmusicnow.com. Thank you. It's one of the only ones I could find on the internet. It's 77 beats per minute, and it's in 4/4 time. The verse is 8 bars. I like the second verse. It starts, a butterfly with broken wings is falling by your side. The ravings are closing in. There is nowhere you can hide. It's like, doon, 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 doo, doo, doo. I can hear it. Like, I can hear the music as I say that. And then the chorus is just 6 bars. It's high time, Cymbaline. Yeah, it's high time. That's kind of how it goes. Cymbaline's cool. The bridge is, it's not like a singing bridge. It's like a bridge with a guitar solo underneath the scat. And David Gilmour's kind of scatting a la Wish You Were Here. But the guitar bar is buried under the scat. In Wish You Were Here, you can really hear him going, doo 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 doo. You know, you can hear him play it on the guitar, and you can hear him scatting. On this, you can just hear him really doing the scat, and you can't really hear the guitar too much. You can hear the organ underneath it. Then there's an organ solo coming up that starts at 3 minutes and 8 seconds to the end of the song. The organ solo is long. It runs for about 32 bars. That's 77 beats per minute, or 77 beats per 60 seconds. That's 101 seconds of organ solo. 101 times 77 equals 7777. 7777 divided by 60, x equals 129. 129 divided by 4 equals 32 bars with a fade out. That's how I got to 32 bars. I didn't sit there and count it. I just did the math. That makes sense to me. Do your math. Also, Rick Wright is the man. He's the best. My favorite keyboardists are Rick Wright and probably Rick Wakeman, but that'll be another video. It's just the important part is that Rick Wright is the man, and it's a great keyboard part. The song arrangement for Cymbaline is a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge. That scat guitar solo, and then another chorus, and then the organ. The organ solo is like an outro. That's the end of the song. Cymbaline. I can tell this is going to be a lengthy review. There's 13 songs here. Track 7 is Party Sequence, Gilmour, Mason, Wright, Waters. That's the whole band. So this is where they start. I would imagine they're jamming together to write these songs. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds. It's just filler, instrumental. Sounds like a bunch of bongos and a flute or a recorder. Genius says it's a tin whistle played by Nick Mason's wife, Lindy Mason. It's in the key of C. Maybe. Who cares? 132 beats per minute. I don't know. Sounds right. 4/4 time. Maybe. I couldn't find the music, the sheet music. I'm just guessing. That's probably right. I think I Googled it and got that. That's party sequence. Track 8 is the main theme, credited to Gilmore, Wright, and Waters. 5 minutes and 31 seconds. This is instrumental filler. And for instrumental filler, this is actually a real song that starts with the gong. And this song starts, it's the way it starts and the way it sounds like it could fit on Piper at the Gates of Dawn or Saucer Full of Secrets. The main melody is the keyboard that starts around the 2 minute and 2 second mark. And at 2 minutes and 35 seconds, it changes. The music kind of changes, and it gets a little Austin Powers-ish. I kind of like it. And then at 2:56, Gilmore sounds like he's playing some slide guitar again. The song plays at the beginning of the movie, is what I've read on, I don't know where I read that, Wikipedia or Genius. Probably Genius. I'll never watch the movie. I'm not interested. Why would I watch it? I like Pink Floyd. I'm not interested in these random Dutch or French films, but maybe you can watch it and report back and leave a comment. I'm not going to watch every soundtrack to a movie that I review. I'm just more interested in the music more than anything. It's in the key of C minor. That's from Google. 136 beats per minute, maybe. I don't know. 4/4 time. Track 9 is Ibiza Bar or Ibiza Bar. I think that's a Spanish, if I'm right. It's credited to the band, Gilmore, Mason, Wright, Waters. That says to me they were jamming this out. 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Is this the Nile Song Part 2? It feels like it's the extension of the Nile Song. They could have made it just one really long song, but maybe they stuck in a different part of the music. Genius says, Ibiza Bar does not change keys, staying with a verse of E and D major chords and a chorus resolving to A major. The chorus could be said to modulate via a series of chords based on accidentals, or all major, A to C, G to B flat, and F to A. It might be the key of A, I guess. The song starts at A, and then does it start at A and end at A? If it ends at A, that generally says it's in the key of A. If it starts in E, then it could be key of E, but these could be all key changes. I haven't seen the sheet music. I can't find it. 150 beats per minute. Now, I think I said with the Nile Song, the internet counts it at half of that, about 70 some beats per minute. It's all about how you count it. So if you count it like this, 150 beats per minute, this is more like a 16 bar structure. If you count it slow tempo like the Nile Song, then it's an 8 bar verses add a couple more for fun. That's the power of math and music, by the way. There's no right or wrong answer. If you cut it in half, then you're just pulling everything in half. Or if you're doubling it, then you're doubling everything. There isn't necessarily a right or wrong answer. It's just how you score it. It's in 4/4 time. The verse is 20 bars if you count it at that fast pace. And David Gilmour singing, I'm so afraid of all the mistakes that I made. It's quite a bit different than the Nile Song. The chorus, not really a chorus, but more like a hook, David singing, and build me a time when the characters rhyme and the storyline is kind. So it's not really a full chorus, it's just like a line that they pulled in. The solo is 16 bars and it's the end of the song, and the song structure for Ibiza Bar is verse, chorus, guitar solo, verse, chorus. Track 10 is more blues. It's a Gilmore, Mason, Wright, Waters, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. This is more instrumental filler. It's a Pink Floyd song doing the kind of straight-up blues that you would hear on Led Zeppelin 1. That's kind of what I think of when I listen to it. Led Zeppelin does it better, but it's kind of interesting to listen to. It's the key of C major or G major. Chordify.com is a very cool tool. And it showed me the chord sequence, G7, C7, G, C, D7, G minor 7, D minor 7, D minor, D, F, G5. That's the chord sequence. I guess it could be either key of C or key of G. The first chord of the song is D, which makes me think it could be a D major, but then why would they add a D minor and D minor seventh chords too? I mean, I don't know. It's music. You can do what you want to it to make it sound good, or to give it whatever impact or effect you want to the listener. And the difference between G and C major, other than the chords that are generally pulled in, is just that one sharp. So, pick your poison. It feels like it's in 3/4 time. It doesn't feel like it's in 6/8 or cut time. It feels like it's 1 2 3 1 2 3. I like more blues, and interesting that they stuck the word more in there. More blues. More. Get it? Get it? Track 11. Quicksilver is credited to Gilmore, Mason, Wright, Waters. 7 minutes, 10 seconds. It's an instrumental keyboard, sounds like Richard Wright, and in the vein of Moody, Saucer Full of Secrets, or Cirrus Minor. If you really enjoy Rick Wright noodling about making ambient, scary music, then this is the track for you. It's alright. Quicksilver's alright. It's one of those where I'm not sure if it's just filler. It's a good song. I think it's alright. Key of, I don't know. I couldn't find this one. I dug and dug. I'm sure you internet experts can find it, but I couldn't. Is it actually a song? Or is it just ambient music and notes for a movie? That's kind of what I feel like, but it's for 7 minutes, it's kind of sprawling, and it's all right to listen to. 4/4 time, I don't know. Does it even have a time signature? I'm not sure. That's Quicksilver. Track 12 is a Spanish piece. It's a David Gilmour song, 1 minute, 5 seconds. It's instrumental filler with some spoken words in it. I mean, I wouldn't call it singing. I don't think it's David Gilmour singing. It's just some cheap Spanish style guitar. I'm sure this track fits perfectly in the movie somewhere, wherever they stuck it into more, but it doesn't really do anything for me. I mean, Steve Howe does much better Spanish guitar sounds than David Gilmour. Okay, the final track is Dramatic Theme, written by Rick Wright and Roger Waters, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. It's a instrumental filler. To me, it's reminiscent of the Careful with That Axe, Eugene. Like, it's sort of like that. But the beginning is kind of like Astronomy Domini, almost like. This is a weird album. There's also some more slide guitar on the song from David Gilmour. At least it sounds to me like it's slide guitar. It could be in the key of F major, but I couldn't substantiate it. I'm sort of guessing, and 113 beats per minute. That's probably because I Googled it, but I couldn't actually really track down what Dramatic Theme is. But it works. Okay. Okay, in summary, Pink Floyd more. ProgArchives.com gives it 3.13. I suppose that's the power of Pink Floyd. ProgArchives.com says 3 stars is like good for the artist. I think it should be lower. This is for fans only. Or if you really dig Rick Wright, which I do. I mean, I'm a hardcore Pink Floyd fan, so this is not my favorite Pink Floyd album. It's in the bottom. It's not their worst one, but it's in the bottom. Maybe it is their worst one. I don't know. Allmusic.com gives it 3 stars. And the Rolling Stone Music Guide gave it 2 stars. According to Pink Floyd official site and BMG, which is a music publisher, CD publisher, album record label, Pink Floyd sold over 250 million albums worldwide, including 72 million in the United States and 9 million in the United Kingdom. That's a lot of albums. Bestsellingalbums.org says More only sold 262,000 copies. That puts, for Pink Floyd, that they rank that 24th all time. It's behind some like it's behind Relics, which is it's behind Works, two really old Pink Floyd like compilation albums. It's behind a collection of great dance songs. I mean, this one didn't sell a lot. This version here is that I looked it up. I looked up this. I bought this in a store back in the 90s. I mean, I've had this forever, okay? It's not a remaster, it's an original print that they did in 87. I would hope that a remaster would sound a lot better, but I haven't heard a remaster. I would be interested in hearing one. I don't know if it would make me like it better. I doubt it. I just like to listen to remasters, but Pink Floyd More, not their best album. It has some good moments. Let's say that. It has some really good moments, and then the rest of it is just filler for a movie. Okay, that's Pink Floyd More. Next on the channel is Led Zeppelin 2. When I get around to it, probably I want to do it this week. And I'm hoping to have it out. This week. Okay. I like that album. By the way, this one took me a long time. It took me forever to write up this review just because I couldn't find what I was looking for. I mean, it was just really difficult. But yeah, next week, Led Zeppelin 2. I'm out. Thank you.